In this video, we're going to chart today USD JPY and then also GBP JPY, also known as pound yen, also known as GJ. So let's go ahead and start from the beginning. So let me make myself a little smaller so that it's easier to see stuff. All right. So jumping right into it, let's go to the daily chart. So I like to start on higher time frames and then work my way down to lower time frames. Actually, let me just put me over here. Go down to lower time frames. So basically what we have right here from what I can see, price is continuing its up move from here all the way up here, but it hasn't broken this 151 level to continue higher yet, although it did form a support. So it's still looking like it's in an uptrend, so that looks good to me. So actually what I like to do is go down next to the 4 hour. So I do have some lines and stuff that I've drawn already, and I'm actually going to make this bigger. Let me move this out the way. Make this bigger so that way we could clean it up a bit. So that way, if you're new to the charts, then all you got to do is follow along. So let's see. Okay. So yeah. So basically, let me just delete this stuff. So I'm just cleaning up my charts. So basically, when it comes to me doing this on a weekly basis, I don't always delete everything on the chart because it's not necessary for me to do so. Let's see, so these arrows, okay, so I did this arrow right here at this support line or support level on the 4 hour time frame, mainly because we can see that we got a support formed right here. So let me go ahead and get some tools. So yep, that looks good. So we got a support formed right here. We got a big rejection here. And basically, if price goes below, or at least closes below this level right here, what I would like to see is for price to come down all the way here. Now, why do I think that? I think that because if we looked left, we could see that we have what is called clean traffic over to the left. So basically, if price closes below here, it has a possibility of first possibly coming to this level and then coming to this level right here. But right now it's kind of, although it's generally in an uptrend, it's kind of in a consolidation here because we got price just kind of going, it's making some higher highs and all of that, but basically it's still kind of stuck in the same range, and that range is between here at around 149.9 and this range up here at 150.88. So it's still pretty much stuck in this range. There are some moves that can be had, especially if you're a scalper or intraday trader. There's definitely a lot of moves inside of here. So I've been kind of waiting patiently. And actually, I like the way this little support has formed up. So maybe if price breaks above here, I'd be interested in a trade up here to these previous highs, and then maybe it can continue here. Just never know. So it's looking good to me so far, the way I have it drawn up. Oh, actually, one thing I forgot to mention that this may be confusing as well. The one reason why I drew this yellow line right here is because I have all this rejection right here. I have a resistance right here. I have a resistance right here. And I have these two candles that came up, but then it came up and then price closed back below this level, which is this, it looks like 150, 400-ish level. We also have a support right here. So why is this important? It's important because when we draw out levels, we want to see a level that is similar to this, where basically we have some resistance and then we also have some support pretty much around the same zone. Now, it's not going to be perfect, but basically, if you find levels that have support and resistance at the same time, these are going to be really strong levels because that tells you at some point when price was going up, actually, let me just draw it. Like this is a good example. When price was going up, it got to this level and then it rejected. Once again, it got up to this level and then it rejected. but then price broke up above, came back, and the same level, found support, and then it continued up. So basically, that is why you want to look for areas that were resistance levels and support levels, because these are going to be extremely strong levels. And I typically like to take trades off of these levels. So that's why I said a few minutes ago where this is a nice little support that is formed, because we got this support here. And if price breaks above here, if I see a signal, I'm usually a candle closure, candle signal type person. I typically don't enter on just price alone. Then I may enter for a trade based on what I see on the lower time frames. So let's go ahead and go to one of those lower time frames. I'm just going to go to H2. So basically, let's make this a little bit tighter. Okay, cool. All right. So I like the way these candles are looking. This is actually one of my favorite time frames to chart from. So I'm going to keep this level here. Actually, what I'm going to do as well is I like to use boxes and or lines. So I see this resistance level right here. So this tells me that if a candle on a lower time frame closes above this 150 760 level, then it has a higher probability of going up here to 150 896. I know that's a lot of numbers, but basically that is what I'm looking for. So I also see a minor resistance right here. So if price breaks up above and closes above this level, then more than likely I am taking the trade. Just because it gives me a nice range. Let me find my range tool. So it gives me a nice range from about that level to here. This will be a good intraday trade, not necessarily a swing trade or even a scalp, depending on your strategy. But and then it could potentially go up here. So that is actually a nice looking trade for me. And I like to adjust my levels based on recent price action. So this all in here is recent price action. So even though this kind of lines up perfectly, I do want to move this line to right here to this little support. It's a support because we have a bullish or a bearish candle next to a bullish candle that forms a support. And in my mind, this is a relatively strong support, mainly because we have all these rejections here. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 rejections to the downside. We also have another one here. So this is telling me that this is a strong rejection level and that price has a higher probability of going up. So that's pretty much what I'm looking for on UJ at the moment. And actually, let's just zoom out a little bit just so that way we can see other levels. So let me go back to the daily. Okay, so we can see that price is currently, the market is closed now, but price is currently at 150.525. The next level is that level that we have marked off, and then the next level is actually a little bit higher. So actually, let me copy this, because I see another level right here. I see a little resistance level right here at 151.421 area, and then I want to go right here as well. Actually make that a little bit smaller. As I mentioned in previous videos, I like to have really small zones just because it makes my chart a little bit neater. So let's go back down to let's go to the 2 hour. All right, cool. So that's actually my plan that I talked about if it goes up. So when I'm doing these charts, I like to chart from both sides. And all that really means is if the price goes up, I want to have a plan. If the price goes down, I want to have a plan. So right now, this is my plan if price goes up. Let me see, let me delete this. I don't need this alert anymore. Yes. Okay, so basically, if price was to come below this level, this 150.400-ish level, the next area where price could potentially go would be right here. And depending on what type of trade I wanted to do, whether it was like an intraday trade or something like that, that could be a really nice level. And then I'm actually going to extend this out a little bit. I know we talked about this zone before. Let's see, I actually want it about there now. So since I'm looking for longer term trades, you know, typically I could wait for price to come down here, or I could take a trade right here. So for me, it's going to be a little bit risky doing this because we've seen price reject this level before, come down to this level, and then shoot up above. It could do the same thing. So what I mean is, say for instance, if price doesn't go up and instead it goes down, breaks below here, it's going to retest this really strong zone, and then it's going to potentially come down here. That is a trade idea, and I could take it. Theoretically, I could. This is a nice little range. And then price has the potential to come down here. It just all depends on what's happening in the market. And you know, at this point, you know, no one knows. So, you know, this is a trade idea I could have. I'm more so on the buy side, mainly because the overall trend is buys. And if I was to take that sell below this level, that would be a counter trend trade. And personally, I wouldn't feel comfortable taking a sell unless it's below here, mainly because this is a major support level. And if price breaks well, this is actually a major support level as well. So you could definitely take it. But for me, I would feel a lot more comfortable taking it down here, mainly because of that clean range that I talked about before. So basically, this is my trading plan if price goes up or if price goes down for USD JPY. So now let's go ahead and look at GJ. So this is, let's go to the weekly. So as you can see, I don't hardly have any lines on my charts just because I like to keep them super clean. So actually, let me just get rid of some stuff. Okay, I don't know what I'm deleting here. Okay, I was trying to get rid of that arrow, but it's all good. Let me get rid of this alert because that was for last week. Okay, nice. So we can see, actually let's zoom in a little bit. So every candle here represents 1 week. So basically what I am looking for is, we can see that price broke out. So let's go to a daily, just so that way it's a little bit clearer for us to see. We can see that at some point in time, or back in November, price went up to this level, this 188 level, and then it sold off all the way back down here. So price came up here back in January, and instead of coming all the way back down here, it stopped here, and then it pushed up even higher, creating a higher high. So what I would be looking for here is for price to come back into the zone and then continue up. So that will be my buy idea. And you may be asking, why is that? Well, for the reasons I just talked about a moment ago. And it's mainly because price, this is a really strong level, this 188 level. Price came here, sold off. Price came here, sold off. This candle right here, this bullish candle, was the candle that broke out. And as you can see, price tried to come back down, but it could not. So let's go ahead and make this a little bit bigger because these are tiny candles and it's probably hard to see. I don't have my glasses, so it's hard for me to see as well. So let's go ahead and make this bigger. All right, cool. So what I was talking about here was, I was talking about this candle right here. So this candle broke out. None of these other candles could do it. They kept getting stopped right at this level. So this candle broke out, price came back, formed a support, and then it continued up. So what I will be looking for, and I don't know if this is going to happen, but basically for price to come back down here, ooh, that was too far, and then continue up. So the reason why I'm looking at that is because of this bullish candle right here. This candle is a bullish candle, but it closed kind of a weak bullish candle, mainly because I'm looking at the body. The body is really small compared to, say, this candle that's right next to it. This is a really strong body candle, and then the candle that's next to that is a really strong body candle. But this candle ended up a weak body candle. So that lets me know that there is some weakness in this candle, and it may come back. It may not come back all the way down here. It may stop here and then continue up. We just don't know. We just got to wait until the market opens, but it is a good idea. And keep in mind that we are on the daily time frame looking at this. So when it comes to looking at the daily time frame, the higher the time frame, the more confidence you can have in that time frame that it's going to that the signal is going to be stronger. So versus if you were looking at a lower time frame like the 15, oops, that covered that, but the 15 or the 5, those are going to be weaker confirmation or time frames versus the daily. So let me get out of this and then let me go back to my analysis. So let's look at the 4-hour. We're going to hit right click and then reset chart, basically just to make it look a little bit cleaner. You can see I had an arrow here for price going up, and it did. Unfortunately, I missed these trades. One reason was because if you look at when price broke out right here, it was at midnight. And so I don't trade London. I mostly trade New York. So being up at midnight catching this was not going to work out for me. But I did do a paper trade, and basically what that means is for me, it's more of a mental. I said that, hey, if price comes up here, we're going to see some bullish momentum, and it did, but it was temporary because price came back down, and then price came back up once again at midnight on Friday. So the best opportunity for me would have possibly been right here. This 8 o'clock candle, I'm up then, looking at the markets then, and then it continued up. So that would have been really nice. But anyway, looking at this, let me remove these arrows. Okay, cool. So we're on the 4-hour chart. This looks fine. I actually like to go down to like a 2-hour chart. And let me fix this a little bit. All right, so there's actually a lot happening here. So I am actually just going to, I'm going to keep this line, but I'm going to get rid of this line. And I'm going to, let's see, this is actually fine. So what I'm looking at right here is I like to start with relatively clean charts. And I didn't have that many lines on this chart to begin with. And like I said before, I drew this line in the past. Let's go back to the daily. I just want to see something really quick. Was that on the 4-hour? Okay, I think it was more so the 4. Actually, we're just gonna get rid of all of these and just start over. So sometimes it's like that when it comes to these charts. I like to have fresh analysis because sometimes when you have too many things on the chart, it can get messy. And then second, if it's been some time, it could be days. Like in my situation, it's about a week since I really looked at these levels. It could be a little confusing. You'll be like, why did I draw that? And that's kind of where I was. So I like to start off on looking at the daily or weekly sometimes, just because those are really strong levels. So let's go ahead and do it. So I'm just going to draw out on the weekly. I really like this, and I like to start with recent price action. So I really like this level here. I know this looks very similar to the level I previously deleted, but like I said, I needed fresh analysis just so that way I could get my bearings. So here's the weekly, then I go down on the daily. Okay, yeah, okay, got it. So on the daily, once again, there's that candle. This is looking good, and then as I go down, I like to adjust my levels. So that is looking good to me. Basically, I'm just trying to make them neater and a little bit skinnier. So let's go down to the 4-hour. And all I'm looking for is areas of support and resistance. This is a strong resistance level because price came here and then it sold off. came back up here, sold off a little bit, but then it shot up. So let me squeeze this in a little bit more. I'm gonna make this line a little bit slimmer because these are gonna be trading levels. So, okay, I like that. So let's go ahead to the 2 hour, and then I will add some more lines back, mainly because on the 2 hour, you can see a lot more detail. So this is what I'm talking about. So right here, if I come down here, I can see a support level that has been formed right here. So I'm talking about right here. So this is a support level right here. And then if I drag this all the way over, we will get a touch right here, showing resistance. Then there's some consolidation in here. But right here, we get strong support right here. And remember how I said you want to find areas of support and resistance. So these are going to help you when it comes to taking your trades, because you have found really strong levels. So when there's a resistance in this case and a support, these are going to be really strong levels. So I like that. I probably don't want to go down any more than that, but if I do, then I'll just draw it in. Do something along here. Ooh, that was not a clean line, but basically something along here where we got resistance and we got support. In a sense, there's a gap, but there is support there. And then if we look left, we also have some levels of resistance as well, right here and right here. So that's going to be another strong level right there. All right, cool. I like that. So yeah, okay, awesome. So my trade idea is still the same as before. It's just I needed to redraw my lines just to kind of get my bearings. And when you do this a lot, you'll have to do the same thing probably. So I'm looking for this kind of move on the move up. See, I'm going to extend this line, mainly because we don't know what price is going to happen or what price is going to do in the future. So now these candles are getting hard to see, so let me make it a little bit bigger. Great. All right, so here is a level right here that I'm looking at. Just looking across just to see if there is, this is a resistance that was formed. I'm trying to see if there's a support, and there was right here. I'm actually going to extend this line a little bit more. So maybe price won't come all the way down here, but maybe it'll come down to here. Keep in mind, I'm on the 2-hour chart. All right, so now let me go down to the 1-hour chart, because every time you go down a level, you're going to get more detail. And that's all I'm trying to do. And that's why I do top-down analysis in this way, so I can keep getting detail. So we got that resistance level right here. We got some consolidation, but it's basically a support. Right here, this is basically a support, even though it's not 100% perfect, but we can adjust our level to favor most recent price action. Even though it's not perfectly aligned right here, we care about what's happening more now than in the past. We look at the past, but we want to prioritize what's happening now. So, okay, this is looking good to me. So this is pretty much my trade idea. Let's see if price retests. Actually, let me remove that, make it a little bit neater. So right here, if price retest, can't talk. So if price does not retest, then this is what I'll be looking for. I'll be looking for this. I'll be looking for a resistance right here. Or I'll be looking for a resistance to break right here, because so far, price did reject this 191 level and then it came down some. And if price comes back up here and closes above, then I could take a buy. But then you're like, okay, well, where could price go? Then that's when we got to jump back to the higher time frames and see if we got any details. And it looks like for this particular pair, GJ, we have to go all the way back So I got to zoom all the way in order to get this and this inside of the view of the screen. So let me move myself up a little bit more. And then this is what I'm going to do. So what I am going to do is I'm going to just do a horizontal line just because it's quicker to draw. And just put it pretty much at the tops of these candles right here. Just kind of do an average tops of these candles right here. You see I had to go all the way back on the weekly to do this. And this kind of lets me know that this is going to be a target. So let's go back to like H2. I think that's where we were before. Actually move this. Okay. Then I got to right click, reset chart. There we go. So now we know, zoom down a little bit. So now we know we got all of this room. Now, of course, price doesn't go in a straight line. Price could break up here, come back here, retest. That could be a good area for a re-entry and then do all kinds of crazy stuff until it reaches this level right here. But at least this gives me a sense of an overall target. Now, could there be other targets that are formed between this price level and here? Absolutely, but this is all the data that we have so far. If we wanted to go deeper, we could go back to the weekly, go all the way over, and look at these candles. You can see that back in 2015 time frame that there was a lot of consolidation, and we know it's consolidation because these candles are closing side by side. But one thing that I do see is I see kind of a support right here that was formed. And then I also see another support that was formed about right here. So let me see if I see anything else. Let's look at the daily. Ooh, that's going to be too far to go back. It's going to be way too far to go back. So there we go. So because we went back, we see that our nearest target is going to be around 192. Wow, that lined up perfectly. That wasn't even on purpose. Lined up 192, and then the next is going to be around 194. Now, could price, do something totally different? Absolutely. That's what the market does. But at least now we have a game plan for this upcoming week. So pretty much, this is what I'm mostly looking at buys. Let me see on the sell side what I could be looking for. Let me zoom out again. So on the sales side, actually, let me go back out a little bit more. On the sales side, so there is an opportunity I see for sales below this level right here. Basically, this 186 level, mainly because we have all of this clean, relatively clean traffic right here. Yes, we do have some bearish candles, but for the most part, it's pretty clean. Now, this right here is not all that clean, but coming down from here to here actually is. So that's looking good. That's an idea, although I'm not really, that's not going to be my top choice, mainly because we are in an uptrend. If I'm looking for sells, I want to follow the major trend, and I'll probably be looking for sells underneath this 178 level. And yes, that is a really far level to come down to. This would be safer, but this, in my opinion, would be a good trade as well. So that's something that, I could potentially look at. And I'm saying that because if we look in the past, we can see that this was formed a strong support. We had a rejection here. We have all these rejections here. This tells me that this level right here is a really strong support level. And if price was to come down here, there's a possibility that it may bounce back up. But you can still capitalize, or at least if I'm looking at this, I could still capitalize on a down move from here to here, because this is actually a really good range. And then if we were looking below this level right here, I would actually be looking at about this level right here. That would be a level, this would be, actually let me go to another time frame where we can get some more detail. Okay, so I went to the 2 hour, Now I just got to zoom out a whole bunch. It's a lot of zooming when it comes to this. So this was that major level that we talked about, like 178, 179. And then if you, all you got to do is just look left. You scroll over, look left, and you will see that there are areas where you have a resistance and a support. So this right here could be a level. Let me see, copy and paste. Wait, did that go way up there? Yes, it did. Let's try that again. All right. So that could be a level right there. Right here, this could also be a zone, and then so forth. So I really don't like to do a whole bunch of lines down because, like I said, I really like to keep my charts clean. So hopefully this was helpful for you in terms of coming up with your own game plan for these two pairs. This is what I'm looking for this week. So when it comes to my bias is definitely buys. I'm looking to buy more than sell. But once again, let's zoom out a bit. Once again, I mean, even if price came below this level right here, you could sell from here to here. Even if price came below this level, this 188, they could be from here to here. Although, like I said before, it'd be a little bit risky. And now that we got more detail, I'm seeing why. The reason why is because we got some rejection right here around this 188. It came down not once, but twice, and rejected and went up. So that's why I said it would be risky to try to sell right here. I would wait until after here and then maybe target here and then here. But obviously you can do whatever you want. So anyway, hopefully this was helpful. Thanks so much in watching me create my game plan for this week, and let me know if this helped you at all in the comments below. Thanks.